Hafidays and Mananasitzuas, many of God's blessings to each and every one of you here. And as we finished off our Easter celebration, I know it's Easter back in the States still. And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin our Heads Up program, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. And I will call Jerry Leon Guerrero to introduce and recognize the stakeholders for this Heads Up program. Joining me this morning is our Legislative Secretary, Senator Amanda Shelton. And at this time, we do have counterparts, ladies and gentlemen, for Youth Month. They are the senators today. I'm going to ask that the two speakers join me, Senator Tasi Napati from Mount Carmel and Senator Kekoa Leon Guerrero from Teagan High. Legislative Secretary's counterparts, can you name them?
We have Aubrey Magdalera and Chance in our office as well.
And also joining us, ladies and gentlemen, from the listening audience, we are live, we're broadcasting live, and I understand that the fire chief, the police chief, and DPW may have some of their counterparts. I'd ask that they come up at this time, the counterparts, because they're the leaders for today, and I'm going to ask them to join me in and maybe even help in the presentation. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, help us welcome Ms. Jerry Leon Guerrero.
Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Jerry Leon Guerrero, and I'm from ADS-TEC. We are the agency that's assisting the Insurance Association of Guam on the distracted driving campaign. Again, this campaign is with regards to texting and driving and putting your phone down. So I actually would like to kind of recognize, part of this campaign that was brought on by the Insurance Association of Guam is we do have partners. And without our partners, they're the ones that are at our forefront in pushing and promoting this particular campaign. And so I would just like to briefly state those stakeholders that have been part of our campaign. We have TriVision, we have IT&E, we actually have the Insurance Association of Guam, we have Cars Plus, Coast 360, Bank of Guam, Vantage, Matson Navigation, Guam Contractors, Special Olympics Guam, UOG, our Mayor of PD, and most especially our Department of Education, which is very key because we would like to have the Department of Education as our ambassadors for the Distracted Driving Month. And now I would like to introduce Ms. Monique Basinger, and she is one of the committee chairs for the Distracted Driving Outreach.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm so thrilled to see the youth here specifically because you've inherited through the increases in mobile technology a real issue. In my day, it was seatbelts. The safety issue of the day was seatbelts, and the Insurance Association of Guam is in a unique position to see the impacts that distracted driving has on this island, just through the increases in medical expense, in property damage, in the pain and suffering that we see from our customers. And when we came together to try to figure out what we could do to make a change, we thought an education campaign similar to that of Click It and Ticket, which you guys wouldn't remember, but was something that impacted behavioral change for my generation. When I was a young child, my parents didn't even recognize that they had seatbelts in their car. And now today, it's complete habit. None of us would think about driving anywhere, even from my in-laws' house in Baza over to my house in Windward. We wear our seatbelt because that is an educational campaign that worked. It changed our minds about what safety really is. And that's what we hope the Heads Up campaign will ultimately do, that it will teach us through a simple message, heads up. Eyes on the road, distractions won't get you there. Simple message like that to remind us that these mobile devices that are a part of who we are now, that we can't stay disconnected from anyone, can be let go while we're on the road and we can just focus on what's important, getting us from point A to point B. We can communicate with our friends and our family after we get there. So really, that's the gist of what the Insurance Association did. We're so grateful for our government counterparts and our community business partners who have come together to help us get this message out there, and to ADSTEC for coming up with just the simplest, greatest message. We're really appreciative of all of you, and of course, to the Honorable Tina Munya Barnes for announcing this resolution. Thank you all so very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I call Jerry again, I want to apologize, but acknowledge the presence of the Legislative Secretary from Youth Congress, Stephanie Lorenzo, who's here with us with the leadership of Speaker Christian Valencia, who also works with Senator Regine Bisco-Lee. They continue to be very active, very supportive. As a matter of fact, continue to draft bills and resolutions as it affects our youth, as it affects our community. And with that collaboration from the Youth Congress, working closely with this 35th Guam legislature, please note that you will continue to see programs like this. You will continue to see the youth be empowered to bring their ideas to the forefront and make sure that our community's issues are addressed. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed it out that the presence of the Guam Youth Congress is here, and they continue to work closely with the 35th Guam legislature.
And now we would like to actually show you folks the 30-second video. It's a video presentation from Danielle Bell, who's the wife of Eric Bell. And so I'm pretty sure everybody is quite aware of the circumstances that happened to Mr. Eric Bell. And so if we could possibly play it now.
When you get behind that wheel, be in that moment. Be there. Don't touch your phone. Don't make phone calls. Don't text. You have to be in that moment. Within seconds, anything could happen, and it will destroy your life and whoever else was involved. My world was totally destroyed by somebody who was distracted. And so that's my message to Guam. Just heads up.
Thank you. And because of that, we encourage and invite every one of you folks. We had shared it with Ek Pokaigwe, who's going to send it off to all the senators, and we're going to share it with GFD, DOE, GPD, Department of Public and Highway Safety, and all of our partners to go in, and it's a simple 3-step, and that's sharing the video and sharing the launch ad. Again, it's bringing awareness to our community, most especially on social media. And that is it.
Sidus Masi, Jerry, and again, if I didn't notice, the insurance companies here also, thank you so very much for this collaboration as we continue our public-private partnerships. I think it's important that your voices continue to be heard because the effect is really detrimental if we do not follow them. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I do have our legislative secretary here. We will have the official resolution presentation at this time, and only fitting, because it is Youth Day, that I ask the legislative secretary to read the introduction of the resolution, and I'll give an opportunity for all our youth leaders here today to go ahead and help read the whereas clauses, and then final closure by the legislative secretary. So, Senator Amanda, please.
This is resolution number 96-35, relative to recognizing the month of April 2019 as Distracted Driving Awareness Month in an effort to advocate for individuals to improve their driving skills and prevent distracted driving.
Be it resolved by the Committee on Rules of Imina 35 na the Turan Gohan. Whereas the Insurance Association of Guam's purpose is to associate with Guam insurance companies to obtain and collate statistical data for the establishment of insurance rates, to recommend and establish rules for the conduct of insurance, to promote standards of ethical conduct, to function as an insurance rating bureau, and to protect and advance the interests of the insurance industry.
Whereas, as mobile technology increases, more and more people rightly see distracted driving, such as talking, texting, sending emails, and posting to social media feeds as a growing threat to community safety. And those in the insurance industry can see the increase in crashes from the use of mobile technology. Truly, we have all seen drivers that use their cell phone while driving, or have been that driver that has been distracted by our mobile device, or have been in a car where the driver used his or her cell phone, and this issue impacts all of us.
Whereas many drivers don't realize the dangers that are posed when they take their eyes off the road and their hands off the wheel. When it was first decided to launch an education campaign on the dangers associated with mobile technology in the car, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration statistics on distracted driving were sobering. At any given moment, roughly 5% of all drivers are attempting to use their cell phones. That is 5% of drivers on the road that are not keeping their heads up and eyes on the road. Cell phone distraction rates are alarmingly high. 1 out of every 4 car crashes in the United States is caused by texting and driving.
Whereas many drivers don't realize we all need to be aware of the dangers of being distracted while operating a motor vehicle, particularly with regard to mobile device use, as texting while driving causes a 400% increase in the time spent with eyes off of the road, and 21% of teen drivers involved in fatal crashes in the U.S. were distracted by their cell phones. This really is a matter of life and death, and we have to educate our youth of these dangers in a way that causes a change in their behavior. The issue is one of choice and responsibility, and the Heads Up campaign is trying to force the reality check. We all need to implement a change in our personal cell phone use habits.
Whereas distracted driving occurs when drivers engage in activities such as texting, talking on a cell phone, adjusting the radio, and interacting with passengers that divert their attention from the road users. And whereas a month that is dedicated to the Heads Up campaign will help our island create a supportive culture among our families and peers to encourage all drivers to establish full attention to their driving habits. And
whereas many directions exist while driving, but cell phones are a top distraction because because where am I? Because so many drivers use them for long periods of time each day. Almost everyone has seen a driver distracted by a cell phone. But when you are the one distracted, you often don't realize that that driver is you. And whereas new technology in vehicles is causing people to become more distracted behind the wheel than ever before. 53% of drivers believe if manufacturers put dashboards and hand-free technology in vehicles, they must be safe. And with some state laws focusing on handheld bans, many drivers honestly believe that they are making the safe choice by using hand-free device. But in fact, these technologies distract one's brain even long after they've used them. And make no mistake, this multitasking technology is about convenience, not safety. And
whereas distracted driving is any activity that diverts attention from driving, including talking or texting on your cell phone, eating and drinking, talking to people in your vehicle, fiddling with the stereo, entertainment or navigation system, and any other thing that takes your attention away from the task of safe driving. And whereas texting is the most alarming distraction, sending or reading a text takes your eyes off the road for 5 seconds, and at 55 miles an hour, that's like driving the length of an entire football field with your eyes closed. Whereas a person cannot drive safely unless the task of driving has their full attention, and any non-driving activity they engage in is a potential distraction and increases their risk of crashing. Whereas in 2016 alone, 3,450 people were killed and 391,000 people were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. And whereas during the daylight hours, approximately 481,000 drivers are using their cell phones while driving. And that creates enormous potential for death and injuries on US roads. And teens were the largest age group reported as distracted at the time of fatal crashes. Now, therefore, be it.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Committee on Rules of Imana 35 na Legislature in Guahan does hereby, on behalf of the Legislature in Guahan and the people of Guam, recognize the month of April 2019 as Distracted Driving Awareness Month in an effort to advocate for individuals to improve their driving skills and prevent distracted driving. And be it further resolved that the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Committee on Rules certify and the Legislative Secretary attest to the adoption hereof, and that copies of the same be thereafter transmitted to the Insurance Association of Guam, to the Department of Public Works, Guam Office of Highway Safety, to the Guam Police Department, Highway Patrol Division, and to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero in Megahagan, Guahan, duly and regularly adopted by the Committee on Rules of Imana 35 na Legislature in Guahan on the 15th day of April, signed by our Speaker, Tina Rose Muñoz Barnes, our Chairperson of the Committee on Rules, Regine Bisco-Lee, and myself, Legislative Secretary Amanda Shelton.
Sijus Masi, Senator Shelton, and at this time, if I can have all the chiefs, and I'd also ask the fire department to please join me in the men in blue and the insurance company. Come on up, and we'll do the official presentations to all of you. And we're going to try and fit everybody up here, because it's really important, ladies and gentlemen, as we have the listening audience at home hear what it's all about, as we see the empowerment of our youth reading the resolution, as we initiate this launch to make sure that we bring the awareness out. What better way than to start with our youth, start with our leaders and our administrators, start with our stakeholders, our private stakeholders, our insurance company, but most importantly, to every single one of you, that distracted driving is not going to be tolerated, not going to be allowed. And as Jerry Leon Guerrero and some others, Monique Messenger spoke about, you know, we had programs in the past like Click It or Ticket. This is another program, legislature and our people of Guam. We present these resolutions, this resolution, and Public Works. Where's Public Works? Come on up, Public Works. I'm just so grateful, ladies and gentlemen, that we had so many people in our community today here for this very important resolution and this program as we heads up to make a difference in our community. Sainamasi.